Beloved ones, today I want to speak to you about something very simple, yet so easily forgotten. I have spent many years observing people, watching the mind, the heart, and the endless chatter that fills our lives. Most people live as if they are asleep, carrying the burden of thoughts, fears, and expectations, and never touching the essence of life. They move from one moment to the next, as if life is outside them, waiting somewhere else, in the future, in someone else's approval, in some achievement they have not yet attained, and they miss this moment right here, right now. I have always said that the truth is not in books, not in rituals, not in any outer authority. The truth is within you. It has been here all along, but you cannot see it because the mind keeps you busy, the heart keeps you restless, and the world keeps you distracted. I have seen people who are brilliant, educated, talented, and yet they live lives of quiet suffering. And I realize it is not because life is cruel, it is because they never pause. They never allow themselves to see life as it is. They chase, they compare, they judge, they explain, they plan endlessly. And sleep comes to them only as a release, not as a meditation. I have spent many nights under the trees in silence, watching the sky change color, listening to the wind rustle the leaves. And in that silence, I understood the first teaching. If you want to live fully, you must pause. You must stop running, even for a few moments. You must allow your being to be present without trying to change, fix, or control anything. Just presence is enough. Awareness itself is enough. And today I remind you that this moment, this breath, this very life is all you have. You cannot live the past. You cannot live the future. You can only live the now. If you miss it, everything else is noise. I have always told my disciples that life does not need to be complicated. The mind makes it complicated with its fears, desires, and endless chatter. But when you pause and watch, something magical happens. You start seeing clearly. You start realizing that the beauty of life is not in some grand achievement, but in the small, simple things. A smile, a sound, a touch, a breath, a moment of silence. I remember many nights in my ashram when I would sit quietly and feel the presence of life around me. People would come with questions, with worries, with suffering, and I would tell them, do not look outside for answers. Look within. Do not search for meaning in the world. Find it in this moment. This awareness is the seed of all transformation. If you can grasp even a little of it today, your life will start to change. So remember, beloved ones, today is not just another day. This moment is a gift, and your awareness is the doorway. Stop, watch, breathe, and see. Life is waiting for you to notice it, and if you do, nothing will ever be the same again. Beloved ones, the second truth I want you to understand is very simple yet very profound. Most people live their lives as if happiness is somewhere in the future, as if it is something that someone else must give them, or something they must achieve through effort, struggle, or approval. I have spent my life observing people, and I have seen that they search everywhere for this happiness, in wealth, in relationships, in fame, in recognition, and yet it always seems to escape them. I have told my disciples many times, happiness is not outside you. Happiness is inside. It blossoms only when the mind stops, when the heart opens, and when the soul stops running after illusions. I have sat with people who are very intelligent, very successful, and yet they are deeply unhappy. They tell me, Osho, I have everything, but I am not satisfied. And I have smiled because I have seen the truth. Their dissatisfaction comes not from the world, but from themselves. Their minds are full of yesterday and tomorrow, and so the present moment passes them by. Life is not something to chase. Life is to be lived. Life is to be observed. Life is a miracle unfolding within you every second, and if you do not notice it, it will pass like a shadow. I remember many nights in my ashram when I would sit silently, watching the moon and listening to the wind. People would come with endless questions, endless complaints, and I would say to them, do not search outside, look inside. Everything you seek has already arrived, but your mind is noisy and your heart is closed, and so you do not see. Awareness, beloved ones, is the key. Awareness is not effort. It is simply watching your thoughts, watching your emotions, watching life as it happens. And when you do this, even for a few moments, something extraordinary occurs. You begin to realize that what you thought was missing was never missing. It was always there. And another thing I want you to understand is surrender. Many people struggle against life because they think they must control it. They think they must plan, manipulate, and force things to happen according to their mind. But life is not a problem to be solved. Life is a mystery to be experienced. I have always said the more you resist, the more suffering you create. The more you surrender, the more life flows and the more beauty you encounter. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is intelligence. Surrender is trust in existence. When you stop running, when you stop chasing, when you stop resisting, the simplest things become extraordinary. A breath becomes a miracle. A smile becomes sacred. A moment of silence becomes a doorway to eternity. Happiness does not come from achievement or accumulation. Happiness comes from awareness, from presence, from the ability to witness life without interference. And this is the teaching I offer you today. Look within. Trust the now. Allow life to move through you without resistance. This is where true freedom begins, and this is where true happiness is born. Beloved ones, the third truth I want to share with you is surrender. Surrender is not something weak or passive. It is the most powerful art of living. I have spent many years teaching this, and I have lived it myself. For a long time, I watched people struggle against life as if life were an enemy to be conquered. They push, they control, they manipulate, and they demand outcomes, thinking that by doing so they can find peace or happiness. But peace cannot be forced. Happiness cannot be grabbed. Life is not a problem to be solved. Life is a mystery to be experienced, and the art of surrender is the doorway into this mystery. I remember my own days of solitude when I would sit alone under the trees, the wind whispering through the leaves. I did not plan anything for tomorrow. I did not hold on to the past. I allowed life to flow through me without resistance. And in that surrender, something extraordinary would happen. I would feel life, not as a struggle, but as a river carrying me effortlessly. There was no tension, no anxiety, no need to prove anything. I realized that resistance creates suffering and surrender creates freedom. Many people misunderstand surrender. They think it means giving up, doing nothing, or letting life happen to you. That is not surrender. Surrender is total awareness combined with total acceptance. It is saying to life, I am here, I am listening, I trust you. And when you trust existence, the weight of the mind begins to dissolve. The unnecessary questions, the constant planning, the endless worry, all of it begins to fall away. I have always told my disciples, do not try to control life. Control is an illusion. The more you try to hold, the more you suffer. The more you release, the more you are carried by a current that is wiser than any human mind. Surrender also teaches you humility. It teaches you to stop arguing with life, to stop complaining, to stop blaming. When you surrender, you no longer feel the need to convince others, to justify yourself, to defend your existence. You simply are. And in that being, there is power, there is peace, there is immense joy. I have felt this myself many times, sitting quietly, observing the stars, watching life unfold. Surrender is not passive, it is alive, it is alert, it is conscious. And beloved ones, this surrender is the foundation of transformation. Without surrender, awareness cannot deepen. Without surrender, the mind remains restless. Without surrender, you continue chasing illusions, thinking you must struggle to achieve freedom or happiness. But when you surrender, even for a few moments each day, you begin to see that life is not outside. Life is not something to conquer. Life is a river of energy flowing through you, and surrender allows you to move with it instead of against it. So remember, surrender is not giving up. Surrender is waking up to the truth that life is greater too. Han you. And when you accept this, you become greater than yourself. It is in surrender that true freedom, true happiness, and true love are found. Beloved ones, now I want to speak to you about the most subtle, yet the most powerful practice you can carry into every day of your life. It is the art of silence. Not the silence of the world around you, but the silence within. I've spent many years in silence, and I have discovered that silence is not emptiness. Silence is fullness. It is the space where life speaks, where truth arises, where the soul remembers itself. Many people are afraid of silence. They think if there is no noise, no distraction, they will feel lonely, they will feel empty. But the truth is, the moment you embrace silence, you meet yourself. You meet life itself. I have seen countless people restless, anxious, always searching, always talking, always running. And I have told them, night is a sacred time. It is the time to return to yourself. Do not fill it with noise, with television, with endless thoughts about tomorrow, with fears from yesterday. Sit with yourself. Listen to your breath. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the subtle movements of life within you. When you do this, sleep comes naturally, deeply, like a friend who has been waiting for you all day. Sleep then is not escape. Sleep is meditation. Sleep becomes a doorway into consciousness, a doorway into life itself. When I was alone in my days of wandering, I loved the night. The world would quiet own. The stars would appear, the moon would rise. In that quiet, in that stillness, I could hear life speaking to me, whispering its secrets. And I realized that this same night, the same silence is available to every human being. You do not need to travel far. You do not need to seek outside. The silence is always inside you. But you must be willing to stop, to let go, to be present. And beloved ones, when you practice this silence every day, when you allow yourself to rest not only the body but also the mind, something miraculous happens. Your mornings change, your days change. You begin to live with clarity, with awareness, with depth. Small things start to shine, a smile becomes luminous, a conversation becomes meaningful. You begin to see that life was never missing anything. It was always whole. You were simply too busy to notice it. Remember, this silence is a gift to yourself. It is a training. It is a preparation for life, for joy, for freedom. It is in silence that your mind learns to rest, your heart learns to trust, and your soul learns to awaken. The more you embrace this practice, the more you will discover that the extraordinary exists within the ordinary. Every breath, every moment, every heartbeat becomes sacred. So, beloved ones, let today's message settle in your being. Pause, watch, surrender, and rest in silence. Life is not outside. Life is not something to be conquered. Life is here within you, waiting for you to notice it. And the moment you do ever, everything changes. Your whole existence becomes a celebration, and you realize that the gift of life has always been present, always available, always yours to cherish.